Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. Wherever you are, have you ever made a mistake that turned out to be the very thing that saved you? Madame Little Lamb once thought she had ruined her chances in pursuing further study, but God turned that mistake into a life-changing miracle. Let's hear her story in her own words.
When I entered secondary school, everything became harder. I couldn't stay at the very top anymore, as compared to primary level. My ranking at school slipped, from the first in my class all the way down to perhaps 9th or 10th of the top class because I hadn't got enough time to spend on studying due to my being busily engaged at gainful employment after school from mid-afternoon till midnight in order to cover all school-related or other essential living expenses independently, as mentioned in episode 3. As a matter of fact, I quite enjoyed and might have caused this slight slipping behind intentionally, as staying at the very top in the past had given me too much unduly psychological pressures as well as some unwanted and unhealthy attention. In Hong Kong during the 1970s, doing well at public exams mattered a lot, as these results somehow dictated your future, whether you could move on to study at higher levels, just like moving from GCSEs to A-levels today. My grades weren't good enough at my first attempt at the Hong Kong Certificate Education Examination, HKCEE, to secure a placement to study further, for which nobody was bothered to ask me any questions or put me through unnecessary scrutiny, which I enjoyed and welcome. I decided, though, to give this public exam another go as a self-study student. I worked during daytimes as a junior secretary for a local famous electronics company, 9 a.m. till 5 p.m, to support myself, and studied hard after work. But it felt overwhelming. I prayed to God for strength and resilience, though inside I feared this might be the end of my education. Then came the subject of Chinese, for which I chose the option of Syllabus A, to study some ancient Chinese scripts, as this involved studying 50-plus articles only, approximately half the number of its counterpart, the modern Chinese scripts, or Syllabus B, which consisted of 100-plus articles. Teachers in this subject said previously all past exam papers Syllabus A would not demand that students memorize ancient Chinese scripts or poems concerned, but provide a content analysis on the subject matter. So, most students preferred to study this shorter option of Syllabus A, though articles from two options were placed next to each other in the same book, whilst there was no need to declare in advance which option chosen. But somehow I made an error during revision. I ended up having studied one article from the modern Chinese section, by mistake, thinking to myself what a waste of my time and efforts. I didn't realize this error would change my study life entirely. When the exam came, I was stunned. I nearly fainted when I saw all 5 questions, among which I was supposed to choose only one to answer. From the ancient Chinese section required detailed direct quotation of original scripts, which I obviously couldn't do as I never memorized any. My heart pounded badly because I thought I would surely fail. Out of desperation, I turned to look at what the next section was about, and there it was. The very article I had studied by mistake appeared as one of those 5 questions listed in Syllabus B. Out of those 100-plus possibilities, it was the one I had revised by mistake and thus knew how to answer. I felt as though God himself had prepared this for me. Suddenly, everything flowed. My words poured onto the page. And when the results came back, I didn't just pass. I scored an A, a distinction, in Chinese language. Coupled with satisfactory scores, better than the last HKCEE attempted, secured in other 5 subjects, this opened the door for me to study further at the matriculation level. Looking back, I know this wasn't just chance. Some mistakes could be God's arrangements or plans at times, and in the end they all worked out perfectly. What looked like a failure at the time could turn into a life-saving miracle in the end, provided this is God's will.
Madame Little Lamb thought her mistake was a nuisance or a waste of time and energy. But God used it to open the very door she thought was closed for something good. Her story reminds us that even when we stumble, God's hand can turn our errors into blessings. What seems like failure to us may in fact be His perfect plan. The Bible verse for this episode is Psalms 145, verses 14, 18, and 19. The Lord upholdeth all that fall, and raised up all those that be bowed down. The Lord is nigh unto all them that call upon Him, to all that call upon Him in truth. He will fulfill the desire of them that fear Him. He also will hear them cry, and will save them. Bye for now. Remember to like and subscribe.